Hey, MotoAmerica fans, this is Jake Gagne. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the MotoAmerica YouTube channel for more coverage, and like, comment. Let's go.
It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship, round 2 of 9 for 2021. It's MotoAmerica Superbikes at Virginia from VIR in Alton, Virginia. A hot and sticky southern day greets us for racing for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time champ Jason Pridmore. Now, Jason, yesterday's race was awesome.
Yeah, yesterday was crazy. These guys were going 4-5 wide down the front straightaway. Going up into turn 14 on the last lap got really, really hectic. You can see Cody Wyman leading here. These guys went 4 wide up at the top of the hill. It all got shuffled as they came down, and the guy with the draft coming onto the front straightaway was Ben Gloddy in third. He just won his first race in Atlanta at race number 2 down there, and he comes through here on race number 1 at VIR.
Yeah, Cody Wyman, I think with the biggest heartbreak, Jay, leading that way, and you end up 4th just off the podium. But celebrations all around, and wow, that was a spectacular race. And how about this 15-year-old from New Hampshire? Last season, he scored 228 points. Now he's got a couple wins.
Feels like we've seen him for longer than that. It seems like he should be older than 15, but you've seen these kids, when they start winning, they get addicted to it, and this is exactly what it looks like Ben Gloddy's trying to do right now.
Keep an eye on Ben Gloddy, and also we want you to keep an eye on this young man, Ty Scott. He fell short a little bit yesterday and was not smiling on the podium. He's going for the win today.
I do believe Ty Scott's going to be one of the ones to look for. And as you look out of the paddock here and those watching at home, I want to tell everybody in the paddock and those at home that I was told the concession stand will close at 3 p.m. That's right. The concession stand will close at 3 p.m., so you better get with it. You've only got 58 more minutes to get something to eat. But you know the MotoAmerica merchandise stand is going to be open. So we're always here to give you that stuff you're not going to get anywhere else. And I'm here to tell you, if you want some cheese fries, you better get over there.
Okay, we have our top 3 finishers from today's Super Sport race at VIRginia International Raceway. Our winner, Richie Escalante. Second place, Sean Dylan Kelly. And third place, Stefano Mesa. We'll get started with Stefano. Second yesterday, third today, third in points. Not a bad weekend, huh?
Yeah, not a bad weekend at all. Other than the incident yesterday, where everything went very good. Yesterday's race was a little better. I was able to hang with the guys a little bit more and actually gave a battle. Today I was in a lot of pain going through the S's, but I'm just happy to be up here. My hat's off to my team and just to everybody that makes this possible.
I was going to ask you, is it one of those things where it does get worse the following day?
I would definitely think so. I feel yesterday, I think it was so close between the practice and the race. Adrenaline was still moving around, and today was just kind of from cold this morning, and warm-up was pretty bad, and I just went out there and tried to do a few fast laps and couldn't get it together. So once I went to the lead, I did a huge mistake, almost high-sided myself to the moon. I just kind of tried and stay with these guys when they went by.
All right, thank you. Second place today, Sean Dylan Kelly. Sean was undefeated until today, winning all 3 races. He's our championship points leader. Sean, I think even you would have to be impressed by Richie's performance today. Everybody's been ridden hurt, and I know you have, so you understand what he's gone through, and so it's pretty impressive.
Welcome back to VIRginia International Raceway, where, Jason, tons of people are here to enjoy MotoAmerica SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup here at VIR. So, Jay, talk us through the track map, because this one, built in 1957, it definitely holds up.
No question. I think the first year we actually came here was 2001. And, yeah, great place. Turn 1, obviously a lot of braking, overtaking down there. Kind of wind your way through to turn 7, goes up a hill, across the ridge. Then from turn 10 down is very technical. From turn 10 down is where we saw the action in this SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup yesterday. and then these guys are drafting all the way to the finish line.
But Jay, we talk about this track being a technical racetrack, yet 11 people finished within just a couple seconds of each other. So looking ahead at the schedule, I want to take a look at MotoAmerica, which is coming up June 11th through the 13th for this particular class. And looking at the track map, Jason, what's your prediction looking forward?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if we had that many people finish that close here, when we get to MotoAmerica, you look at all those big long straightaways, it's going to be, I bet you we're going to have 10, 12, 14 people in that league group.
That would be absolutely incredible, and you really have to learn how to draft and pass. And what he's talking about is between turns 14 and 1, definitely between turn 3 and 5, and even after the
Canada
chicane.
corner down to turn 12.
Yeah, pretty incredible. So again, looking at the schedule, Jason, if we go to the Pacific Northwest here at the Ridge, June 25th, 27th, 2 weeks after MotoAmerica, and we look at that racetrack versus Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, how would you classify the Ridge in terms of how you think this class is going to race?
Well, this is going to be a much more technical place, and since we've already seen him on the podium a couple times, this is Dave Kolstad country. This is where he's from. You don't think he's got that one circled on his calendar? And you can see a lot more twists and turns, a lot of elevation, some very slow technical sections towards the end of the lap. The chicane they built last year to slow him down this front straightaway going into turn 1. So it's going to be an interesting when we get up to there as well.
So Jason mentioned it here as we look at VIR. David Kolstad, he had a great result yesterday, looking to go a little bit better. He's looking forward to the Ridge, but we're looking forward to his performance here at VIR.
We'll get back to the Junior Cup here in just a bit. Sorry we left the press conference. Let's get back to the answer SDK had in that Supersport press conference a moment ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Richie, props to him. I know, and you can see that there's a painful injury that he's coming from, and definitely needs props because he rode a great race, great pace. But overall, just not happy with our day. Can't be happy with this P2, more just because of the changes we made on the bike didn't result as we were expecting, and I had a lot of issues on the track, and I'm glad I didn't end up in the grass because I had a few close calls with the front, and I just couldn't run that same pace. I tried catching up after a few crazy couple laps, but yeah, just couldn't get it done today. So definitely disappointed, but we know what we did wrong already, which is important, and we're just going to keep on working. We're going to go to MotoAmerica with our homework done and keep on working there. This is still, at the end of the day, a solid result, but we're going for more.
If you had it to do over again, would you have left the bike the way that it was?
Absolutely not.
Oh, all right.
Cool. I would do changes because we know some clear things that we did wrong going into this race that were different for yesterday, and it clearly didn't result well today. So this is racing. We need to try things. You need to take risks, and today we took a risk. It didn't work out in the best manner, but at the end of the day, we're still here. We're still talking, and I'm happy about that. So yeah. We're healthy, and I know that after a rough couple of last weeks in bed, and I know that I'll be able to train again and get stronger and get to MotoAmerica better.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That was a little brief look into our press conference. We're going to try and do that at each and every stop. If we can do that, again, give you some of the stuff you see behind the scenes. Now you get to see it here on MotoAmerica Live Plus. I'd like to thank them for doing that. We get to hear what they say. And sometimes we see a little trash talk, Raj, in that press conference. It gets fun.
Especially a couple years ago, if you remember, Tony and Cam had a little fun in the press conference. So if the races get a little close at the end, the press conferences can be pretty entertaining.
We also had the badgering of SDK and Tony at Escalante last year, talking about that 636 Kawasaki. But let's talk about the MotoAmerica Championship at Virginia. The STG Junior Cup coming up now. Let's see. Take hold.
Today's STG Junior Cup coverage is sponsored by SportbikeTrackGear.com, the motorcycle apparel and parts specialists. And in part by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
VIRginia International Raceway. as we look at the starting grid for this SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Tyler Scott was your pole sitter at a 36.8.
Yeah, LeMandry Jr., hopefully he can keep it up today. He's in that lead group, as was Jack Roach, until he had an off as well. Max Toth is going to be row 2, along with Cody Wyman and Max Van. Then we got Gus Rodeo, Benjamin Gloddy, Eli Block, David Kolstad, who was up front yesterday, Blake Davis, and Chase Black. A little bit further back, we go to row 5, Aiden Thau. He was really close yesterday, closest we've seen him. Hayden Bickneys, Avery Dreyer, Cale Essman, Alex Ricci, and of course we got Keegan Brown on his first race weekend with MotoAmerica.
So this race is getting ready to get underway, and if it's anything like yesterday's race, you better hold on to your hats, because these SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup riders are going for it. Who's going to lead us into turn number 1, and how is this whole thing going to go?
We had like 11 guys within 3 seconds at one point yesterday. That's...
I know, and this is where it gets crazy. Are you ready for race action? We are. Tyler Scott with a good launch. A mega launch from Scott. Look at that,
wow.
Jason.
And this is what we didn't see yesterday. Ty Scott never got to the front yesterday. Now he's got that KTM leading. We saw him running back as far as 6 yesterday and kind of making his way through. Let's see if all these junior cuppers get through turn 1. They do. I'm looking to see who we got up front right now. Looks like Max Van got a good start. There's Cody Wyman riding around the outside, moving himself into second. See Jack Roach on the inside in about 5th place at the moment. One of our riders runs a little wide. I believe that's Avery Dreyer, just running out just a little bit wide on the exit of turn 3. No harm, no foul. But right now, Cody Wyman kind of reels that KTM back in at the beginning of this lap.
Yeah, not generally we're going to see here at VIR a huge breakaway. With Glotti getting out to an early lead yesterday and everybody reeling him back in, you think, maybe Scott and Wyman are going to get away, but they're going to start bunching right back up, especially as we get to the back half of this race course and you throw in that nice long straightaway. There's the gap right now, Jason.
Yeah, Max Toth is back there in 3rd. He's taking over that running to try to catch up to these front 2. If these front 2 can get away without messing around too much, you know, the other group's going to have to kind of organize themselves and not carve each other up too much in the twisty bits here. But it looks like Joe LeMandry Jr. there has moved himself into 4th. You see Ben Gloddy back there just behind Max Vandenbroek.
Yep, so we're coming down the hill, up the hill now onto the front straightaway. And we do that in air quotes because there's a lot of twists and bends in this straightaway. To the kink that they go. Not a lot of draft and passing going on up front, and not the gap closure that we saw as Wyman goes to the lead for the moment, but Scott up the inside on that nice slender KTM. The number 70, Ty Scott on the Scott Power Sports KTM RC390R. Indication that he wants something.
The problem is Ty doesn't know that there's a whole group behind him now, so him and Cody can try to do their thing, but it's going to be really difficult, and Cody's going to hear bikes behind him now that he probably didn't hear for that first half of that last part of the lap. They had a bit of a gap, but that's completely gone now. So now we're going to get back into what we normally see here in Junior Cup. We're going to have about 6-7 bikes lying astern and then drafting and redrafting down this front straightaway.
Through the S's into turn number 7 under the bridge. They've already gone, and now they're going to head up the hill.
LeMandry Jr. makes the move into 3rd place. And you can see, Greg, these guys they do open up a little bit of a gap, don't they, in that run down to turn number 7 over the rest of the pack. Does Ty Scott and Cody Wyman, and they do pull away even up in this little bit here. Joe LeMandry Jr. is going to try to bring the fight. These two guys unfortunately got together a little bit yesterday. LeMandry lost the front and just ever so slightly touched Max Toth, just touched the rear wheel of LeMandry's. His bike was spinning in front of him. So both these guys running 3rd and 4th right now are hungry to get a result.
So Ty Scott out in front, now trying to break away early on, Hannah.
That was the ideal goal. He wanted to try to get out front early, pull away. Obviously, he knows there's so many riders that are so capable, and the draft was so crazy yesterday. He really likes to lead. He wants to set the pace. He feels confident about pushing his own air and not having to rely on that draft. And they made a mechanical change for more pull down the straightaway, so we'll see if that benefits him in the race today.
Now, in the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup category, there's not much that can be changed, so my guess is that mechanical change is going to be some gearing, Jason.
Yeah, it would have to be, and it's funny because when we're sitting here, we hear in our headsets, I hear rev limiters as they go through just in our headsets, and you don't want to be running out of gear on these little bikes at the end because it just opens it up to where there's so many people that can draft past you. So gearing is pretty essential, big essential key in any motorcycle, on any bike, but especially on these little bikes because of the amount of people that are running at the front.
What's going on with the number 72, Ben Gloddy, on that Landers Racing Kawasaki Ninja 400? Already 2 race wins to his credit, sitting back in 5th at the moment, looking to try to figure out how to make some moves towards the front. Doesn't want to let Scott and Wyman get too far away, but 36.6, the fastest lap of the race by your race leader, Tyler Scott.
Fastest lap we've seen all weekend. I think that's quicker than qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. 36.8
yeah, so
was what Scott did in qualifying, and he's pushing his own air.
That's right. He's got the hammer down right now, and Cody Wyman is doing his best to keep in touch with him. You can see here that Max Toth has got through into 3rd over Lamandry. Gloddy just behind Lamandry right now. And then Jack Roach doing a really nice job. We have 2 R3s in this race. Jack Roach is one of them. Blake Davis is another one. So Jack LaRoche right now on that Westby R3 is doing a nice job kind of staying in touch with this lead draft.
Wyman a couple bike lengths behind. Didn't quite get the full draft effect he needed into turn number 1. Cody Wyman on the 34 on that Kermoto Ninja 400.
How about Max Toth just goes 36.1? I mean, that's incredibly fast. That's 7/10 quicker than pole position, and it's about half a second quicker than we saw Tyler Scott do, as his best was at 36.6. So Max Toth really on the move, trying to get himself going forward. You can see Gloddy now has got himself into 4th, and these are the 3 guys that are going to try to do their best to stay with this group. So the pace already, G-Dub, is a lot faster than it was yesterday.
Incredible. Toth is the 3rd bike in the screen, number 58 on that white and red Veloce Racing Kawasaki. And Jay, that's what matching corner speed and drive and then getting a draft is going to do for you. 36.1.
Greg, yesterday Toth felt he could have won until that crash. He was really trying to be patient, but also aggressive, really just trying to find that balance, which is really impressive for someone of his age. You know, the bike feels great after the crash. They tried different gearing and warm up and he went faster, but they're actually going to go back to gearing from yesterday's race because he just felt better on it. But his crew chief, Nobi Iso, has a lot of experience and a lot of professional experience riding. He's actually the 125cc record holder for lap time at this track. So he feels really confident in the bike that Nobi-san has been able to put underneath him.
Yeah, it's really good report, Hannah, because like you say, gearing is so key, and it will be interesting to see if the gearing that he ran on this morning was maybe a little bit taller, because when a rider says they feel more comfortable with something, a lot of it's based off of throttle control. Gloddy had gotten by, and he did get by. It looked like Toth was trying to fire it back up underneath him. Those 2 guys out in front. Oh, no! What have we got? It looks like David Kolstad is one, Jack Roach is the other. They've both gone down into turn 1.
So the first of our leading group victims hit the deck. They're going to try to get restarted after Ben Gloddy has set the fastest lap of the race at a 136.0 last time by the stripe, in 3rd spot now. So things have started to bunch up, Jason. As we get close to the halfway point of this race, we're now looking at about 6. Jason, right part of your screen in the replay.
Trying to see what happened, but it happens a little bit out of our shot, I believe. So can't really tell. Obviously 2 bikes got together. Don't know really who did something to the other there. Can't tell. Both guys look like they're just running to get to their bikes to get back in this race.
Yeah, and they're not looking at each other, blaming each other either.
Yeah, they're getting on with it. So what's impressive to me, Greg, is like this is the pace, 36 flat. So we're almost a second under where the qualifying time would be. And that's what Tyler Scott does. When he gets out front, he kind of sets this really hard pace and makes everybody else have to step up. Now, being able to do that is another story. Ben Gloddy is doing that. He's got himself up to 2nd, so now he is going to be the chaser, trying to run down Scott in 1st place. Cody Wyman now in the draft of Ben Gloddy as they come across the stripe to complete another lap. There'll be 7 to go now.
7 laps to go in this one as Tyler Scott leads the way. He's got a draft. Victim and Ben Gloddy tried to pick up the draft. Closes up ever so slightly. So here's the running order. Scott, Gloddy, Wyman, Toth, and Lamandry Jr. with Max Van in tow. This one's going to go down to the checkered flag. Through the infield flat section of Virginia International Raceway. Jason, where do you think right now Tyler Scott has the field covered?
Well, I think the hardest part right now is this first little sector he's been pretty fast in, but everybody is kind of up their game. I mean, when you can see that over half a C, Greg, there's been 10 guys that have got into the 36s if you include Roach and Kolstedt, who are unfortunately not part of this lead group anymore. So you've got quite a few guys that have jumped into the minute 36 ranges, and when you think about it, in qualifying there was only one guy in the 36s, and that was the guy out front. But you see what's happening. He just continues to push the pace and try to stretch this group out as they go through kind of the twisty parts of VIR. He's pulled out again, probably, what would you say that is, Greg? 0.3 or 0.4 of a second before they come on this front straightaway?
Yeah, I mean, that whole top section is where Scott really seems to shine, Jason.
And he's on his personal best lap right now for himself.
Oh, boy. Are we going to dip into the 35s? Could it possibly be?
He's only done 36.6, so this is probably going to be a 36.3 or 4 probably, if I had to guess. So, you know, and the thing is he's able to hold these guys off. It's 36.403, so that's his best lap of the race. But he's doing it on his own, like you said earlier. He's not got anybody to help kind of draft, so really impressive. But see how quickly they can close back up. Now, he's just got to keep doing what he's doing here. Look how much he pulls away on the exit of turn 1. Now Cody Wyman has taken the chase. He just needs one good, solid, clean lap through all this. And if he can pull out a second and a half in the twisty parts, then he can kind of be home free a little bit.
We're heading towards this section, turn number 7, where Cody Wyman had made a mistake and drifted wide, but able to get himself back into second spot is the 34. So now they're going to head off into turn number 7. Is anybody going to be close enough to challenge Scott into 7? Cody Wyman up the inside, too far back. But at least for Wyman there, he holds it a lot tighter. But this is where we've seen Scott start to eke away, Jason.
Yeah, you say that, but he was eking away a little bit, and then these guys reeled him back in through turn 3, 4, 5, down to 7. But he does pull away ever so slightly. This time, though, it's not as big of a gap as it was the previous. These guys are going to be able to draft, and the only problem really for Tyler right now is that if one of them comes through and creates a double draft, it might create a bigger draft for 3 or 4 more to go by.
And Jason, we talked about how important that gearing change was going to be for Tyler Scott. Cody Wyman has the same mentality. He wanted to make a gearing change and really get a better drive out of 5. Greg, I know you just mentioned that. And the last turn, because these are the most important. They're the biggest exits. The gearing change felt really good in the warm-up. Today, not so much strategy for the race. He knows that these competitors can be so unpredictable. He's really trying not to overthink things and just really rely on those instincts.
And he goes to the lead. So Cody Wyman off of a double, triple draft, and things are starting to really mix up right now as Wyman leads Gloddy and the number 58 of Toth, and all of a sudden Scott finds himself in 4th, Jay.
Yeah, but Toth was the guy that I thought did a really nice move there. The first 2 guys went through, and Toth just let the lever off to continue to go with the 2 Kawasaki's in front of him, and that pushed Tyler Scott from 1st straight back to 4th. Now, yesterday, it didn't look like the KTM was quite able to draft these guys the way they were able to just do that to him going down the front straightaways. You can see Toth now taking the fight to Ben Gloddy as they go into turn 7. So these 3 guys on the Kawasaki now are trying to show a little bit of pace themselves and see. We'll have to keep an eye on where the lap times go to now.
4.5 laps remain in this race number 2 for SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Wyman leading the way from Glotti. And wow, things change quickly in this category as Toth has gone into 2nd place.
And Lamandry Jr. just went underneath Tyler Scott. So in 1 lap, Tyler Scott's gone from 1st to 5th. So now he is going to get about 4 laps to kind of suss out what he wants to try to plan as far as getting himself back to the front, as these guys are going to fan out, go 3 wide. That's going to really help Lamandry Jr. and Tyler Scott, who are side by side behind these 2. We're going to be 5 wide going down into turn 1.
They fan out. Who's going to be a demon on the brakes? It's going to be Toth on the Veloce Racing Ninja 400. So Toth leads the way. Everybody looking for some real estate to get the maximum amount of corner speed. Is anyone going to attack him? Look at Wyman trying to find some real estate. Gloddy there. And our early race leader, Ty Scott, in 4th spot. Well, this is anyone's game as these laps wind down. And this racing right now, Jason, these riders are going to be roughing themselves up and keeping it nice and tight with this group. But Toth trying to make a break. Head down. Wyman going right with them. This has been Cody's deal, the 34, most of this race.
Oh.
Is he going to try around the outside
Wow.
for the lead? What a move, but he's so wide, he's going to be able to gather it back up. Losing momentum on these smaller displacement motorcycles can be a disaster. So an aggressive move around the outside for the 34 doesn't pay off. Not this time.
He just wasn't able to quite get the bike turn. I didn't think he was really going to go around the outside, but he must have got such a good drive down there that he was able to pull that off. And but Cody did okay. He's got right back on the back of the 58 now of Max Toth as they come down the hill. And we're gonna now we're gonna be able to see if Tyler Scott can draft these front three. He was able to take advantage of a big draft down the front straightaway between all of them. And you can see on the left-hand side here, Cody Wyman goes by on the outside, and not quite able to get to where he wants to the tight part of where that camber is really going to help him. And he runs just a little bit wide going up the hill.
Lead change, and now it looks like Ben Gloddy, right part of your screen, might go way wide and take this lead, as he's got a good line, but Toth trying up the inside, and Gloddy gets stood up by Wyman. So all that shuffling on the straightaway, and other than the fact that now it looks like Lamandry Jr. has gotten in front of Scott as they're side by side. So Joseph Lamandry Jr. will shuffle Ty Scott back another spot.
Yeah, just key. This is just one of those things. It's just a dress rehearsal every time they come down that front straightaway of where they're going to be, who they can draft, how they're starting to plan their last couple of laps. Talked to Cody Wyman overnight, and basically we discussed when he was leading up into turn 10 yesterday, at that point, you're just committed to try to lead this race to the line. So we'll see if his strategies change at all as well.
Laps are winding down of this top 6 that are in the mix right now. Gloddy with race wins. Tyler Scott with a win. So many of these riders in this mix, Jason, haven't even been on the podium yet in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup, looking for their first of the season. Looking at the rider hanging on to this one, Max Van, the 48. What a great job Max is doing at this point.
Yeah, if he can just get a little bit closer, huh?
Yep.
2 to go this time by, and you can see a lot of movement down the front straightaway between all of these guys as they come. They're going to look at their boards, and most of them are going to know there's about 5 in the battle right now. Cody Wyman's drafting on the left-hand side of Toth as they go down into 1. He's not going to be able to make that pass, and they're going to kind of fall back into this place they started coming onto the front straightaway.
Max Van is so close to just latching on the SportbikeTrackGear.com sponsored Ninja. He's there, and he is learning from the 5 in front of him. But it's still, Max Toth leads the way, a 136.6 last time by. A 36 flat is the fastest lap. So here in the SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup category, the pace has not slowed at all.
Yeah, I can't believe they're doing 36. It's just routinely and consistently now, especially we have a little bit more heat out there today than when they qualified. So
yeah, I mean the only person qualifying in the 36s was Tyler Scott.
Yeah.
So Jay, at this point, race prediction. What position would you like to be in on the last lap of this race coming out of the final corner?
Well, I mean, look, you're a little bit of a sitting duck unless you think that you can get out of that last corner good. I like what Cody did there too. Tight line up there. He's not going to let anybody go up underneath him. I think if you could be 3rd or 4th, but it's just so hard because there's going to be so much shuffling in front of you. To find that clear path to the start-finish line is going to be the hardest thing to do. So unfortunately, Max Van's dropped off the back just a little bit too much here. Even 4th and 5th almost look like they're a little bit too far back. But as these guys fan out in front of them, you're going to see 2 and 3 wide. You can see Cody Wyman on the far left-hand side of the track. He's going to go try to take the lead.
Final lap of the race, white flag out. Who wants the lead on the last lap? It looks like Max Toth is going to do it. So he's going to lead the field. Now, has Toth been holding anything back at this point? Because, Jason, you think about it, he's going to try to pull the pin, and the Veloce Racing racer doesn't want anybody close.
I really feel that if you're going to choose to lead him to turn 1, you're going to choose to lead the rest of the lap. It's very hard to play the cat and mouse game of trying to let somebody by. The reason is if you're just racing one person, you can kind of play that game a little bit. But when you got 5 guys, 4, 5, 6 guys behind you, you don't want to let one guy by because that might force the other 2 or 3 guys to go by you as well. So it looks to me like Max Toth has his head down. He's committed to leading this thing out of the last corner. Now it's going to be up to Cody Wyman and Ben Gloddy to try to close that distance.
Max Toth.
He's opened up a little tiny bit of a gap, too.
He has opened up a gap. This is looking really good for Toth, who's had 2 DNFs this season.
Cody Wyman just got out of shape. That's going to help Max Toth. He's not going to know that, of course. He runs it in there nice and tight. You can see this little gap has created. If he can lead him down out of that last corner now, Greg, that's a big enough gap. I think he can hold off to the finish line unless these guys do something really amazing through this last right.
Cody Wyman trying to close the gap with a whole bunch of riders behind him. Here they come. It's the dash to the checkered flag. Can Max Toth hold on? They start fanning out. Everybody looking for a draft. Wyman pulls out. He leads it over, and it's going to be Wyman who wins from Ben Gloddy. Toth on the podium, and fastest lap of the race goes to Tyler Scott, a 35.9 in 4th place. Lamandry Jr. and Max Van, your top 6.
Just unreal. What a last corner Cody Wyman ran. He was so fast through the bottom of that last right, and this is going to be a nice little payback from him. He beat himself up pretty bad last night after finishing 4th and being so close, but this is a big win from him. Last year we saw him finishing 5th and 6th. We saw him leading some races, but this is going to feel awful good for him.
Cody Wyman putting that Kurmoto Kawasaki on top of the box after a change of machinery from last year. And boy, with, I don't know, Jason, a quarter of a lap to go, it certainly seemed like Wyman was too far back to make anything, but that whole top section, he was able to, he killed that last right, but he was able to really close the gap on the run down, and then it all came to it. And
good
Tyler
for Max
Scott.
Toth. I'm happy for Max Toth. Ben Gloddy ends up getting on the podium, gets himself second to help him with the points.
All right, we'll step away. When we come back, we get to talk to Cody Wyman, his 2nd podium finish of the year, this time on top of the box.
So what a run to the finish there, Roger Hayden. I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought, you know, it was a good enough advantage for Max Toth, but if you were out in front in this race coming to that front straightaway, I mean, he had to do more bobbing and weaving because a good draft by Cody Wyman. He did it perfectly.
Cody Wyman just did the last corner perfect. You could tell he just got such a good run, and you know, I thought Max Toth had a big enough gap. You know,
yeah, I did too.
Pulled away, and those guys behind him did a pretty good job where they didn't battle it out too much and didn't slow each other up too much. But cool for Max Toth. He's had so much bad luck. We talk about it every single weekend. He keeps getting caught up in other people's accidents, and cool to see him. You know, even talking to him this morning, he kind of said the same thing. He just needs a little luck, and he finally got on the podium. But Cody Wyman played his cards right, and it's cool to see him. He works hard and, you know, got a win.
The oldest of the competitors in the Junior Cup there with Wyman. I mean, he should have the most experience as he pulls into the paddock, and they are beating him senseless. But he played that draft perfectly. He hung back just enough. I thought it was too much, but he hung back just enough. And even Gloddy was able to get by Toth there at the stripe, 0.06 of a second behind, or actually 0.04 behind Cody Wyman. 0.06 back was Max Toth. So less than a tenth separated first from third. Ben Gloddy in there in 2nd place. And you saw the fastest lap of the race overall, that 1:35.9, not in the 36, but the 35's Tyler Scott. He ran out of time. I was talking to you while we were watching, and I said he's too far behind. He needed to be up at least 1, maybe 2 positions going to get that white flag.
And you can see he was on the last lap, he was kind of banging his tail section because he wanted to tell the guy behind him, hey, let's not dice it up the last lap, and it actually let him catch up. And if he could have just been a little bit closer and caught that draft sooner, I think he could have definitely been on the podium.
I believe you're right. But again, he couldn't be in that 5th spot, I think, as he might have been, you know, coming to take that white flag that time. But what a run. Cody Wyman, it's a long time coming for him. Again, he's the older of the crew. He's all 27, I think, years old this year. There's the entire Wyman family. Maybe we still have another Wyman on top. They still got another chance in the Hono Superbike coming up there and making a podium appearance. Good job, though, riding for a new team this year. Was on the Yamaha, now on the Kawasaki power plant.
And doing a lot of it himself, him and his dad.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a family affair, and that's going to move him higher in the championship points. He was 4th about 7 or about 30 total points behind Ben Gloddy. He's going to make up 5 on him today. So just keep clicking them off, and maybe he will be on top when it comes championship time in our final round of the year here at the MotoAmerica Championship at Virginia. The STG juniors are done, and we have a new winner in Cody Wyman.
Today's Junior Cup race coverage has been sponsored by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Late action in this race, Jason. It looks like Max Toth had it in the bag.
You know what? He rode a great race. He'd made a commitment to try to lead early, and this is a lap and a half from the finish. You can see he was trying to create that gap, but it was an incredible run from the 34 of Cody Wyman and Ben Gloddy. They went through that last right-hander, closed up a lot. Got a great run out of there, Greg, and were able to just sniff the draft of Max Toth and get that win.
In the end, you see the margin of victory, .049, a blink of an eye, and Max Toth just a little over a tenth of a second away from his first win. Tyler Scott on the fastest lap of the race, .2. So Cody Wyman wins this one. He's with Hannah.
Well, it's Cody's first season on this Kawasaki. He's still learning, but it's a second podium and a career first victory. Cody, with so many position changes happening, take us through that last lap. How were you able to strategize and pull off today's victory?
A little bit of a strategy. Yesterday I was really overthinking my plan, and today just going with my gut and trying to ride a good race. I got out of the seat on the last lap, but threw everything at it on the last bit to try to catch him and get a tow. Just got him at the line. Huge thank you to Kermoto, Madden Painting, K-Tech, Evil Technologies, Motivation USA, Helmet House, Arai Helmets, Harv Davidson, my entire family. I had friends and family out here. This is awesome. This is where I deserve to be, and let's keep this rolling for the season.
Congratulations, today's race winner, Cody Wyman.
It's always pretty cool getting your first win, and you know, you hear when somebody's overthinking the process a little bit, you go to bed at night, you start thinking, what would I have done different? And today he just came out with a little bit different plan, and it worked out great for Cody.
Well, for Ben Gloddy, he's perfect on podiums so far this season, and he's with Hannah.
Gloddy takes a second spot today for Landers Racing. Ben, again, take us through those last laps. So many position changes. Where was your head at?
Laps, I wanted to be that third rider in the draft, and we had just made a little bit of a wrong gearing change. Well, not we, I did. Should have gone a little shorter on the gearing, but I'm not going to blame that on anything. Cody rode an awesome race, and you know, I wouldn't have been able to do it with my whole Landers Racing crew, American Super Camp, Penguin Racing, Atlantic Cruising Yachts, Arai Helmets, REB Graphics, everybody else that helps me out. Just thank you very much.
Congrats, Ben. Guys?
Well, sometimes that happens, Jason. I like the fact that Ben Gloddy takes the responsibility on his shoulders.
It's right there. And look, this class is hard to win every single weekend, and especially when you got all these fast kids that are learning and getting better all of the time. So Ben Gloddy didn't do his championship any harm today, getting that second spot.
MotoAmerica's version of Moto3,
yes,
Jason.
no question.
And speaking of 3, let's get right down to Hannah as our third place finisher.
Veloce Racing's Max Toth rounds out this podium today. Max, after not getting quite the results you'd hoped for so far this season, are you feeling a sense of redemption with this podium?
Bad luck, and it's been kind of hard to deal with, but I think that this third place is a really good start to, you know, what's to come. And I just want to thank the whole Veloce Racing team for putting this whole program up for me. They've been the best team that I've ever worked with. And all the team sponsors, Shoei Helmets. And yeah, we know that this is where we belong. This is what we're here to do, and we're going to go step by step to get to the top.
Congratulations, today's third place finisher, Max Toth.
All right, it was good to see him smile after that one,
Yes,
Jay, because
absolutely.
I was like, I understand the disappointment of not winning, especially after leading so many laps late.
We
But
saw Max at Laguna at the end of last year, unfortunately. And then we saw him in the first turn of Atlanta this year. He's exactly right. This is a deserving effort for Max Toth today, and good for him and his team.
So our championship point standings look like this. Benjamin Gloddy has 90 points. Tyler Scott with 16, and Cody Wyman now moves his way up a spot past David Kolstad into third. What an entertaining race, and 0.049 of a second the margin of victory is what we love to see here in SportbikeTrackGear.com Junior Cup. Cannot wait to see what Road America brings for these athletes. It's going to be great racing. We will see you then.